Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be giving some tips on starting a fragrance hobby slash fragrance collection. I just feel like it's something that maybe I would have wanted if I was first starting to get into this hobby. And yeah, some of these tips might be like really obvious, but I don't know, I just thought this was a good idea. And some of you might be thinking like, who does this bitch think she is? Her collection isn't even that big. She doesn't know like notes like the back of her hand, blah, 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 blah. But that's the first thing I wanted to say before I get into the tips is that we don't gatekeep on this channel, and I don't think gatekeeping is fun at all in any type of hobby. So it doesn't matter if you have one signature scent or if you have 100 different in your collection. Like if you like fragrances, you can become part of this community too. And yeah. So I'm gonna get started on, I have like little notes right here. So the first thing I wanna say is that you need to check what you already have in your house. This is free. And this is not just talking about fragrances. I'm sure like everyone, even people who aren't into fragrance collecting or as a hobby, have one or two fragrances that they use maybe on special occasions, or maybe they use it every day. But I'm saying check your scented lotions, candles, body mists, perfumes, anything that's scented, that's supposed to be scented, maybe other than like cleaners, but you know, body washes, anything like that, and try to pay attention to what notes are listed on these products. So usually on body washes that are scented, they'll have a little description of what they smell like, or on a candle in the back it'll say what it smells like. And try to pick out what notes you think come up more often, and it's gonna kind of give you an idea of what are your tastes. So now that you have a vague idea of what smells you already like based on the stuff that you already own, watch YouTube videos. So let's say I have a bunch of moisturizer, like body lotions and like fragrance mists, and apparently jasmine and vanilla come up a lot in the notes that are on the back of these packages. Well, what I can do is go onto YouTube and search like 10 best women's fragrances with jasmine, or 10 best vanilla fragrances, something like that, and it'll just expose you to more fragrances that are on your radar. So step 2 is just kind of get something that's similar to what you like, something that you already have in your collection, and try to find things that are like brothers, sisters, cousins of those fragrances, just to have on your radar. So already on step 2, but we haven't spent any money yet, okay? And then step 3 is to sample. So this is, this can be free and this can also cost money. It depends on how you want to do it. Me personally, I like just actually going to the store and sampling fragrances there for multiple reasons. One is that it doesn't cost any money, and I can actually spray it on myself and test it throughout the day when I'm like shopping, or you know, going grocery shopping or whatever. And 2 is that usually a sales associate will be a little bit knowledgeable about the fragrances, at least in the brand that they're repping. So if you already know that you like jasmine or you like vanilla, you can go up and you can ask them like, hey, I really like jasmine, what can you recommend to me? And you can start there before jumping in blind. I will say one thing you can also do for sampling is you can order decants from people online. That is an option if you don't live in a big city, or if you don't live near like a counter for a fragrance that you're interested in. Like a lot of niche counters are usually only in high-end department stores, and they're kind of hard to come by. So I totally understand buying samples online. I would recommend buying the smallest sample just in case you don't like it. It might seem like worse value for money, but at the end of the day, you are spending less money because this is a sample, something you would usually get for free. So my mindset is not trying not to, you know, spend as much money. So this is kind of tip 3.5, I guess, still part of that sampling tip, is to have a list of perfumes with you that you want to know how they smell. So for example, maybe after you watch some YouTube videos with, you know, the notes that you're interested in, or maybe you watch some top 10 videos or favorite videos, maybe a few perfumes show up more than once. Maybe they show up multiple times in multiple people's videos. That must mean that they're really popular. So I think you should know what these popular scents smell like, just for the reason that a lot of people compare different scents, newer scents, to things that they already know. And things that they already know are going to be popular fragrances that most people also know. So for example, some popular women's fragrances are like Pink Sugar by Aquilina, La Vie Belle by Lancome, what else? Black Opium by YSL. These are staple perfumes that maybe you don't want in your collection unless you want them to be, but you want to know how they smell just because people compare different scents to them. I will say, if you have a list of perfumes you want to test out, it's a lot less stress for you and the sales associate, because sometimes a sales associate can be rude if he or she thinks you're not going to want to buy anything, and then sometimes you get overwhelmed by all the choice. So it's just nice to have a list of what you want to test out, at least in the beginning when you go. All right, so tip number 4 is to just ask for perfume or gift cards. And obviously don't just ask people in your everyday life randomly, like, hey, can you buy me this perfume? But a lot of times people will ask us, hey, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? And a lot of times we reply, oh, I don't care. I don't want anything. Oh, don't give me anything, blah, blah, blah. But then at the end of the day, they do get you something. You might like it, you might not. It's just like a communication issue, right? So I find that it's a lot less stress for me when someone tells me just straight up, can you give me this? Or I'm interested in this, or like something like this, at least like a category of something. So for example, if someone asks you, hey, what do you want for your birthday? Maybe you don't have a specific perfume in mind because you haven't sampled enough to figure out what you want next. You can ask for a Sephora gift card or a Nordstrom gift card, or even just like a Visa gift card if you don't want to be, constrained to where you want to purchase your next perfume from. But either way, you can ask people for perfume when they ask you what you want. And tip number 5 is that when you actually have your fragrance, use it, please. I get so, not annoyed, but it is one of my pet peeves when I see these people's giant collections on YouTube, and like, I love watching these videos, right? But there's like, some people have like 2, 3, 4 backup bottles of their favorite perfume, and they're afraid to use it because they're afraid they're gonna run out of it. Well, isn't that why you bought the backup bottles? But even if you don't have the backup bottles, you should be using perfume that makes you feel happy. You should use it because you want to use it. And it's your money. If you want to buy it just to display it, that's fine. But if it's giving you grief that, I can't use this perfume because I'm going to run out, whatever, guys, perfume is ephemeral. It's not like clothing or bags. Once you use it up, it's gone, or you have to repurchase it. It's not something that's gonna last forever. I mean, even clothing and bags don't last forever, but you guys know what I mean. Like makeup and perfume and food, these are ephemeral things that bring us joy. These are ephemeral hobbies. And I feel like if you want to get into the perfume or fragrance hobby, you need to understand the time limits of perfume. It's an ephemeral joy is what I'm saying. I said that word like 10,000 times, but just enjoy that and enjoy your collection. Some people get joy out of just collecting and displaying them, and that's great. That's 100% your prerogative. But if you're trying to debate with yourself every single time you want to use your favorite scent just because it's hard to get, why did you get it in the first place? Now that's just money that you're not using. That's money down the drain, in my opinion. So yeah, those are my 5 tips, five tips on starting a fragrance collection. And I'm gonna go briefly into why I think fragrance as a hobby is just a great hobby to have. So one of the reasons why I think fragrance is a really great hobby to have is it's relatively unique. And you guys know me, I don't really care if something is mainstream or not. If I like it, I like it. But if that is important to you, fragrance is a hobby that is popular enough so that there's a pretty big online community for you to get information and learn, but it's not too popular so that you'll be a little bit unique in your circle. You'll have a little bit of a fun fact about you, and it's really cool to people. Well, maybe it's lame, but sometimes it's cool when you can pick out someone's perfume, oh, are you wearing this? It might be creepy, but some people think it's cool. It's kind of a cool bar trick, I think. Another reason I like it is that it can be as expensive or as inexpensive as you want it to be. Like I said, I have a lot of samples because I follow my own tips, guys. So I have a lot of samples. I have samples from designer houses. I have samples from very expensive niche houses. And if obviously you're not going to get like 10, 20 samples in a day. You'll maybe get one or two. But as you continue with this hobby, you'll steadily grow the collection so that you get a big library in your mind and your nose of how things smell, and you don't have to spend any money. And then when it comes to the time for you to actually purchase the fragrance that you want, you'll know exactly what you want, and you would have saved all the grief of blind buying. You would have saved yourself all this money of, all this awkwardness of receiving gifts that you might not like. But at the same time, there's this thrill that comes to buying perfume without having smelled it, blind buying. Obviously, if you're going to blind buy something, don't go in 100% blind. Read the notes, watch reviews, see if you think you'd like it. But that's also something that's a positive aspect to this hobby. It's kind of exhilarating. It's fun to receive a package and have the mystery be like, am I going to like this? Am I going to love this? Am I going to hate this? Etc. So like I said, it can be as inexpensive with sampling and saving up and figuring out what you want, or as expensive as you want it to be, where you blind buy. It's kind of like that gambling aspect. You can kind of mold it to how your lifestyle is. Another reason is just I like smelling good. I like fragrances. I like tying fragrances to memories. That's just something that I like. And fragrance has a very strong emotive and tie to memory, just like in the way that our brains are wired. So if that's important to you, well, fragrance as a hobby is pretty fun. And lastly, I just think fragrance is pretty equalizing. And what I mean is kind of like riffing off the fact that it can be as expensive or inexpensive as you want it to be. You can make it, mold to your lifestyle. But what I mean is that for the most part, everyone smells like, how do I say this? Everyone is stinky, right? Everyone can smell, everyone can detect the stinky, and everyone is stinky, right? So, and when I say stinky, I mean like you have a smell. I don't mean like you're like gross, but I mean like when you put on perfume, you're stinky is what I'm trying to say, but whatever. Everyone can participate in this hobby. You don't have to be super wealthy and collect designer perfumes only and niche perfumes only. Like, you can smell good at any budget. You can smell good at any age. It's honestly just super equalizing. And especially on the online communities, people are usually, talking about how they feel about this fragrance or how it smells on them. A lot of times they talk about the memories that these fragrances bring them. And I just feel like it's a really wholesome community. But like I said, you can make the hobby fit your lifestyle. You don't have to, be someone you're not, if that makes sense. Okay, so that was my video on my tips on how to start a fragrance collection and why I think fragrance as a hobby is such a great one to have. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a thing or two. Maybe you realized, hey, maybe I can get into fragrance. I don't have to be scared to jump in. It's a very welcoming community. We don't gatekeep here, at least on this channel. So thanks guys for watching. Subscribe if you liked it and like the video if you liked it.